The business driver behind the online form came from the Integrated Patient Communication Division of SmartSource, and it was a request from one of their larger hospitals to redesign specifically for mobile their pre-registration form for one of their departments. It happened to be their maternity department. And we suggested that they take a little bit different approach. So instead of designing a form, a separate form, that would only be viewable on mobile, what we would do is we would create a whole new system that would allow the enterprise, the organization, to be able to create any type of online form, be it a pre-registration form or maybe an application or any type of form that was used to capture information and electronically transmit back to the enterprise. We suggested that in order to keep the consistency in the look and the feel of the form, that we would design a system that would be responsive to the user, meaning that regardless of the medium that the user was accessing the tool from, whether it be desktop, tablet, or smartphone, it would always present an optimized application. So what I'm going to be demoing here for you today is a demo site we created for SmartSource to be able to show an example of an online form. So this example is actually a maternity pre-registration form. And like any form, it will be accessed via the provider's main website. So in this case, the user would be directed from the main website to a button or a link that they would simply click, and it would take them out to the online form. So in this case, it's a pre-registration form. So the first time that a patient or a user accesses the form, they need to sign up. So they would click the sign up button, and they would input whatever information the provider wanted to capture. So in this case, first, last name, email, address, patient date of birth, password, and they repeat the password. Password can be as stringent or as lenient as the provider wants. Then they would simply click the sign up button and would take them directly into the form. So we'll go back out to the sign up page. So after the user or the patient in this case has signed up for the first time, what they would do in subsequent access to the site would simply put in their email address that they used to sign up with and their password. So a couple of things. First, again, this is a site that was done in responsive design, meaning that regardless of the medium that's being viewed upon, so whether desktop, as you see here, or tablet in portrait view, or tablet in landscape view, or a smartphone view, it will always optimize for the device that is being viewed upon. We also include in the application the ability for the user to either hide or show their password, so they always know whether they're typing in the correct password or not. So this is a user that we created for demo purposes. So if you want to log in as a user that's already in the system, you can use this email address and this password. Simply type it in, click the sign in button, and it will immediately take you out to the application. So this is a landing page. We can put whatever information that the provider wants to put here. These navigation links on the left can be as detailed as the form requires. If the user has already completed a form, it would show over here in the left side, and they could simply click the view PDF and they would be able to see the previous form that they have completed. If they're a first-time user and have never completed a form for this particular department, then there would be no link here. So they would just follow the links. Again, this is in responsive design with the navigation under the drop-down menu button. Go back out to the desktop view. And the user would simply put in their information. Now again, we can alter or edit the fields based upon the type of form or the information that the provider wishes to collect. So again, this is a maternity form. So the fields here pertain predominantly to the maternity department. We've made this highly intelligent, which means that we won't force the user to enter any information that isn't relevant. So if the user happens to not be employed, they would simply click unemployed and they would not have to fill out the required information. So this is just an example. If the form requires access to a database, such as a physician's list, then we would simply receive a file and we would upload the file into the content management system that is hosting the application, and it would allow the user to be able to access information from a database. So regardless of the information that is being collected, it will always present in an optimized fashion. Once the user is done completing the form, they would click the submit button and it would take the user out to any fields that remain incomplete. Once all fields are complete, it would give the user an indication that they have successfully completed the form. And they have a couple of options. They can just edit out, they can return to the form, or they can view the form that they just completed. So I'm going to click View PDF, and it's going to bring me out to a PDF rendition of the form that I just completed. Now we can also integrate the information directly into the provider's back end if the provider requests us to do so. So after the user has submitted their form, an email acknowledgement will be sent out to the provider indicating that a submission has been submitted, and the administrator for the provider will be able to access that information via the PDF that was generated. So once the form has been submitted, the provider would access the administrative console. For demonstration purposes, you can feel free to use the login credentials of demoadmin@smartsourcellc.com, password smartsource, one word, all lowercase. Going to log in. And the administrator will be able to do a few things. They'll be able to immediately click View Submissions, and they'll be able to have access to the different forms that might be in the system. So as it was a maternity form that we are demonstrating, I'm going to click Maternity Forms. So I'm going to be able to see any submissions that are in the system. And as you can see, it's showing the form that we just completed for the demonstration. I can view the form. I can archive the form after I have done whatever I need to with it. So by clicking Archive, it's going to put it in the archives. There it is. I could delete the form. I can create an export CSV file to be able to upload it into a different system if I so choose. I can search by using different criteria. So as the number of entries becomes quite large, the search feature becomes quite beneficial. I can go back out to forms. I can look at different forms. I can view the individuals that are currently in the system. Again, I can use my search feature. I can delete those users, or I can reset their password. I can also manage users, so these are the people that have access to the system. Now, one of the main features of our system is the different levels of security or authentication that we've provided. So we allow within our system to provide different levels of security. So for instance, a parent healthcare organization might be at the top with multiple hospital or healthcare entities. Underneath that might be different departments, and underneath that might be different individuals with different security levels per department. So we can provide different layers of security and authentication based upon the needs of the client. So simply clicking New User, putting in the information, clicking the security group that was set up ahead of time with the client's input, and the new user is entered into the system, and they will only be able to see the information that they are allowed to see. We can see usage logs, so we can see who's gone into the system when. We can allow the user to edit their account information, change their password, or simply log out. So again, the benefit of this form is that it can be used in any vertical market. It's simply a tool that allows the customer to be able to capture information from their users, which gives the users the benefit of communicating and engaging with the provider on an anytime, anywhere basis on their terms, regardless of the medium.